Okay, we are live as well on my end.
Perfect. Perfect. This is so exciting. So again, I will just quickly introduce myself. My name is Tara Angelis. I am a fertility nurse and holistic fertility and hormone health coach. And I will let Evangelia introduce herself as well.
Oh, thank you. So I'm Evangelia. I'm a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, herbalist, and healer. Living experience that acupuncture and herbs and natural holistic well-being can be successful in gaining blessed children after multiple losses.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Evangelia, for joining me today. This is so exciting. So let's dive right in. And Evangelia and I are going to talk about the very first myth that we see happen frequently, which is medical interventions are the only effective way to address fertility issues. And from my side, as a fertility nurse, I have been on kind of both sides of the coin here, both like the holistic side and then also the side of working like in a fertility clinic, being in the IVF world. It is very common for couples to feel like their only really effective way of addressing fertility issues or fertility challenges, especially when you've been trying to conceive for like 6 months or 12 months or more, is to go down the route of IVF, IUIs, things like this. And I'm definitely not saying that these routes can't be effective, because absolutely they can be an effective measure, but they are not the only effective way to address fertility issues. And it's definitely a common misconception that if you have fertility issues, you have to go through IVF or IUIs or artificial reproductive technology. So, Evangelia, I was curious your perspective on this first myth. If you could just share a little bit about, in your experience, are medical interventions the only effective way?
They are definitely, oh, let's see. They are definitely not. As again, living proof that I was at the first time I was 23 years old, and we are going to cover age as well later in another myth. But at the age of 23, I got pregnant, I got a loss, and then they told me like, oh, you need to get tested, you need to do this, you need to do that, and they couldn't find the reason why. So, but eventually herbal medicine and in general holistic medicine and a more self-care and nutrition and exercise provided me with my help with my children. So it's truly a myth that it's only medical treated that you can conceive naturally. That is totally not true.
Amazing. And on my side, natural holistic measures, nutrition, diet, lifestyle, detoxing, all of these measures are so effective at helping couples to improve their fertility that it's kind of not fair for this myth to be out there that the only way that you can actually effectively address fertility issues is with IVF or IUI. And frequently couples are kind of pushed into that, as not on purpose. It's just that our current reproductive healthcare system, that is the next step for people to go through. And we don't have enough education. We don't have enough information out there available for couples to know that they don't have to go straight into IVF or IUI if they're having a hard time. There's this whole other step that's missing that is amazingly effective and so incredible. So that's myth number one. Like, medical interventions are the only effective way to address fertility issues. Not true. I've been successfully helping couples conceive naturally via the Fertility Academy for a few years now since I launched. And same thing with Evangelia. She's been helping couples with traditional Chinese medicine approaches, herbs, all of these amazing ways that we're not actually taught about how we can improve our fertility. So let's go to myth number two, which is fertility decline is solely age related. And Evangelia, I'm going to hand it over to you on this one to start off.
Thank you. So again, the very, very first loss, it was at 23. So I was really, really young and I got pregnant, but I also got a loss. And then again, I got a loss. So it is really, really age related. And also if they tell you like, you're too old or you're too young and you don't have any eggs, etc., that's just all just to say the word bullshit. because it's just a true myth that you need to be a specific age. Well, I can tell you, I had a client of mine, she was 40 years, and she had failed IVF, and she got a new IVF, and I guided her into the IVF, and she is now an amazing mother of a baby boy. So it's not age related. We do get the genetics, so we get the DNA from our parents, but we can always improve. And from a Chinese medicine perspective, is you get your prenatal gene, so your prenatal, your essence that you get inherit from your parents. But then you also have the postnatal gene, so that's the postnatal essence that you provide to your health and be more healthy as possible through acupuncture, herbs, nutrition, and in general your whole lifestyle. So it isn't really related to the age only.
Amazing. And I would add on there that, we're taught that, again, age is the only thing that impacts our health, but we actually have way more of an ability to impact the health of our eggs, the health of the sperm, the health of our entire reproductive system than we have been led to believe. And sperm and eggs actually both go through a maturation process before they are ready to be mature and to fertilize. And so it is in this amount of time for men and for women when you have an incredible ability to influence the health of your fertility. So for men, it takes about 74 to 90 days, somewhere in there, for sperm to fully mature. And so in this time frame, everything that the man eats, everything he's exposed to in terms of toxins, how he exercises, his lifestyle, all of these things have a really big impact on the health of the sperm. And the same thing with herbs and the ability to impact the health of the sperm and give them what they need. And the same thing with eggs. So eggs go through a final maturation process of 120 days before they're ready to be mature and ovulated. And again, it's during this time that you have an incredible ability to actually influence the health of the eggs as they're going through this final maturation process. And so many people are led to believe that your eggs, you're older, your eggs are just older, but it's actually much deeper than that. And your ability to influence the health of the eggs is huge in these 4 months prior to conception. So even couples that are in their 40s, and they're trying to conceive, they haven't been successful so far. If they can implement a strategic preconception plan with the right nutrition, the right lifestyle habits, the right diet, the right detox plan, all of these things put in place, they are going to see huge improvements in their sperm egg health. But I mean, of course, there are certain circumstances where IVF is needed or IUIs are needed. But for most couples, the ability to influence the health of the eggs and the sperm is huge. And you have an incredible ability to do this in the 3 to 4 months prior to conception. So, busted myth number 2 there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's go to myth number 3. Infertility is primarily a female issue.
No.
No.
No. I have seen this most of the times, and I think Tara agrees with me. So when you are really treating someone for fertility, infertility, secondary fertility, we always try not only to improve the egg health, but also the sperm health. And sadly, society has really brushed it off that, it's always the woman, but 80% of that is kindly the man's side that is really the issue. But due of his ego and his pride, they don't always follow through to get tested because they're like, you are judging his manhood. So they are not really comfortable with that. But the best way to treat it is, again, as we busted number 2 just a second ago, is you need a minimum of 3 to 4 months to have like the optimum health for an egg and the optimum health for sperm. So in that, it's the best way to help both, so you have the best ascendant at the end of the road, and then you truly are going into trying to conceive. So it's like a garden, you can have beautiful flower, beautiful rose, but if the soil isn't good, it won't bloom and it won't stay as gorgeous as it is. So you need to have a good nurturing foundation. And that goes for the sperm and the egg health. And regarding the sperm, a lot of things is, because most of the time, the men are working, and based on their um, work, what kind of work they do, maybe they are all day just sitting on a desk. Maybe they are like sitting on the truck or the taxi, whatever it is. So by sitting, you really warm the intestine, yeah, or the low area, let's say it. So due of this warmth, this can build up a low quantity and low mobility as well. So
Mhm.
it's really important not to also use a laptop on that area, once you come home and you want to chill, because
Mhm.
warmth is really not a good partner for that area. And also, if you want to improve sperm health, I would really go with horny goat weed. So, as the word it says, horny goat. It was an herb, also called epimedium, that was found by our Shenong Benchao, so the divine farmer. That we are all grateful from the Chinese medicine perspective, because he gave us all these herbs that we work today and still do for centuries. And what this really does is it's an aphrodisiac, but also really helps to improve the mobility and the structure of the sperm.
Mhm. Amazing, amazing. And I would add in there that, when a sperm and an egg come together, the embryo that's created that starts to grow and the cells start multiplying, the DNA from both the egg and the sperm come together to create that embryo. And so it's very frequent to kind of think that, like, it's all the women and the egg just delivers the DNA. But if you think about an embryo, the outer cells on the outside of the embryo, it's called the trophectoderm. And the trophectoderm is what actually turns into the placenta. And the inner cells is what turns into your baby. And it's the DNA from the mother and the father that determines the health of this baby and how that baby is going to do growing. And so, the mother, of course, has a big part, and the father, of course, has a big part. And both the DNA from the mother and the father is going to influence the health of the baby. It's going to influence whether you have a miscarriage or not. There's a lot of factors that are influenced by the health of the father. And if we talk about the statistics, or I guess the numbers, oftentimes a couple that's going through a fertility challenge, it's usually 30% the woman, 30% the man, and then the rest is a combination of the two. And so it is really 50-50. Like, you have to know that it's not just the woman that it's at fault or the man that it's at fault. It's really both of the man and the woman together creating their embryo in a beautiful, healthy way. And the way that our society is structured, if you think about IVF, if there is a male factor infertility issue, so if the male in the relationship has poor sperm health, poor count, poor motility, poor morphology, all of these things, if it's diagnosed that he has poor sperm health, the solution for that is for both the man and the woman to go through IVF together. So even if the woman, it's not her fault that she has a hormonal imbalance or something with the eggs or something like that, even if it's just the man who's having an issue with the sperm, the woman also has to go through the IVF process, take all the shots, get the eggs taken out, fertilize them. Like, it is a huge process to go through for the woman. And the solution for male factor in our reproductive healthcare society is for the woman to go through IVF. So let's kind of flip that around. Like, let's give a new solution. We need a new solution here. And the solution that Evangelia and I work on with so many couples is, let's improve the health of the sperm so that the woman doesn't have to go through IVF. So I'm obviously very passionate about this, but it's
We
because of,
both are.
yeah, it's because of things like this in our modern day reproductive healthcare system that it is seen as the women's issue. Because even if the man has poor sperm health, it's the woman who has to go through IVF. And the man just needs to collect the semen sample, and then that's either frozen for later when they're ready to fertilize, or it's taken on the day of the egg retrieval, and then the eggs and sperm are joined at the same time. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it's the woman who has to go through the hardship of IVF because of the man's issue. So it's because of things like this that women are often seen as the problem first in our current reproductive healthcare system. And we need to change this, because women do not need to carry this burden solely on themselves. So let's talk about myth number 4. Egg and sperm quality are solely determined by genetics.
We kind of covered that. Oh, I kind of covered it in the beginning.
Yeah.
um, so again, it's you do get, as I just said, I don't know, a couple of minutes earlier, is you get inherited from your DNA as you're in the womb. And the perfect thing is that if you really take time to nurture and invest in a 3-4 window, let's say, for sperm and egg health, then you will have, of course, the best version of you and your husband both. So in general, you and your partner, right? So think of it, you invest in your sperm health, you invest in your egg health prior to conceiving. So what this really does is that you help your child in the future to have less pathologies, less sickness, and more opportunities to have a better life, instead of if you don't do that. And if you know, for example, that your mom has high blood pressure, or your dad has asthma, or whatever the case is, those factors are really inherited downwards. So if you can even look it back, I always love to look 4 generations back. So
Mhm.
you truly see the threshold, which is probably a lot higher. And as we have the second generation, the threshold really goes lower and lower and lower. And that's why we see a lot of pathologies and sickness and infertility. So if you know that and you truly care about that 4 month window, but you was like, okay, I didn't really stick to it, it's okay. We are not perfect, but you can always improve as you go. So it's your prenatal gene essence that you inherit from your parents, and then you have the postnatal essence gene that you can add to it once your child is, for example, born.
Absolutely. And I would add in that what Evangelia is talking about is a study called epigenetics. And epigenetics is the study of how our genes can actually, like the expression of the genes can be changed. So if you think about a light switch and you that has a dimmer on it, if you turn the dimmer up or down, you can change how much light is coming into the room. And that's kind of what epigenetics is. And we have an incredible ability to influence the health of our gene expression with nutrition, with exercise, with lifestyle, diet, all of these things, detoxing. And so it's because of this study of epigenetics and how much of a big impact it can have on a male and female health prior to conception that you can then influence the genes that are passed on to your children and have incredible, like, pass on good health to your babies. And this is such a big part of helping babies to be healthy, not only during pregnancy, but also postpartum and into their entire lives. And it is such an incredible gift that we can give to our children, just because of the time and effort that you put in the 3 to 4 months prior to conception that makes such a huge difference with this. So again, myth 4, egg and sperm quality are solely determined by epigenet or by genetics. Not true. We have an incredible ability to influence the health of and the expression of our genes, and also by giving the right nutrition, getting the right exercise, detoxing properly. All of these things have an incredibly huge impact on your ability to conceive. So I would love to go to myth number 5, which is you don't have any eggs left for conception after the age of 40.
That's so not true. That's so not true. Like you are given millions of eggs once you are born into this world. So trust me, you will have enough eggs to conceive even after 35 or even 40. I have helped women even over 40 conceive naturally. And the truth, everything, if you or listen from myth 1 till 5 right now, everything is in the foundation. So that 3-4 month window, there is where the change is. There's where you lay the foundation, and you can change and flip that around. I'm living proof. I got multiple losses, and when I did acupuncture and herbal medicine on my own, I got blessed with my kids. If I didn't know my inner wisdom, maybe I wouldn't have kids right now. So I know this works. You and I know it. We have helped many women worldwide, and that's why we are doing what we're doing right now. Really shed a light on and bring a really awareness that, you don't need to have an IVF or you don't need an EUI. And if you even go to that point, after that, we can always support you through nutrition, herbs, acupuncture. So you will have a successful IVF or a successful EUI.
Absolutely. And I would love to add that, there's this idea out there that once you get over the age of 40, your ability to conceive like goes way down. But again, you're not addressing the fact that you do have eggs. As long as you're still having a cycle, as long as you haven't gone through menopause yet, where you don't have your cycle for a full year, you still have eggs and you still have an ability to influence the health of those eggs. So even couples as late as 45, 46, 47, as long as you're still having a period, even if your period is like, it comes, it goes away for a few months, and then it comes back again, you still have an ability to influence your fertility at this point. And so the idea that you don't have any eggs left is totally not true. Every single woman has enough eggs to still get pregnant as long as they're still having a period. And your ability to influence the health of those eggs, you have an amazing opportunity to do this. And so with the right nutrition plan, with the right detox supplements and support, with the right lifestyle, you can absolutely, and I've seen it so many times, get pregnant in your 40s. You're not out of eggs, I promise. And that brings us to the last myth, which I really love that we're kind of transitioning here, is that working on improving naturally or working on improving your fertility naturally is not helpful when you're already planning on moving forward with IVF. So let's dig into this one a little bit. Again, in the 3 to 4 months prior to that egg and that sperm being released and being ready to fertilize, you have the ability to influence the health of the eggs and the sperm. And in our traditional medical world, in our reproductive healthcare system that we have right now, if you are going into IVF, you are going in with the current health of your eggs and the current health of the sperm. What do I mean exactly by this? When you go through IVF, you're not going to be getting any nutrition, diet, lifestyle recommendations to improve the health of your eggs and sperm. The IVF process is going in and taking out the eggs and the sperm in their existing state. So that means that they're not influencing the health. They're just going to go, your partner does a sperm collection. They're going to use the health of those sperm right then. And again, as we've been talking about in this podcast, the health of those sperm is completely determined by what the man has been doing in the 3 months prior to that collection. So if he's going in and he's having those sperm collected without knowing how to improve his sperm health, you're just getting the health of those sperm at that time. And everything that he's been doing in the 3 months prior to the sperm collection is going to influence the health of the sperm. So it can, he may have low morphology, low motility, low count, all of those things that we can improve with the right support prior to going through IVF. And the same thing with eggs. If you're going in and you're getting your eggs taken out, you're going to be given IVF medications to basically get the whole cohort of eggs that are coming forward for you in a single month. And you're going to be working on growing all of those follicles that have the eggs in them to a certain point where then you will then go and have an egg retrieval. The eggs will be taken out, and then those eggs will be put together with the sperm in one of two ways, either conventional, where the sperm and eggs are put together, or ICSI, which is where they take the healthiest looking sperm and put that into an egg. Now, again, what can women do to improve the health of their eggs? It's all in the 4-month period of time before those eggs are taken out and put together with the sperm. So can you improve your fertility naturally when you're already moving, like if you have to move forward with IVF or if you're planning to? Oh my gosh, 100%, 1,000,000%. And
Exactly.
I can't stress this enough. If you are going to go through an IUI or IVF, taking the time in the 3 to 4 months prior to going through that process is going to increase your odds of success dramatically. And IVF, the success rates already right now are so low for couples that if you are going to go through such an expensive and kind of arduous process, it is 100% worth it to take the time to do the nutrition, do the lights. Yeah, invest in that time, invest in that process. And it was during my time as an IVF nurse at the fertility clinic. I was working at Pacific Northwest Fertility in Seattle for a few years, and so many of the patients that I was supporting going through the IVF process were asking me this exact question. what can I do to improve my chances of success going through this whole process? Like, what can I do? They're asking about exercise, they're asking me about stress, they're asking me about nutrition. And that is what led me to where I am today, because I wanted to find the answers to those questions. And I was so passionate about helping couples to have their best success. If you're going to go through something as tough and as hard as IVF, why not give yourself the best success possible? So I hope this has been helpful. I know we have covered like a bazillion things in like 20 minutes. But Evangelia, I wanted to ask if you had any closing thoughts on that last myth. Working on improving your fertility naturally is not helpful when you're already planning on moving forward with IVF.
Now, again, as we just busted 6 myths in less than 25 minutes, it all comes down to the foundation of the 4 month window. As you said, IVF is expensive in itself. So if you are investing in IVF cycle and you are really just based on, as you said, the egg that is right now available and the sperm that is right now available, you didn't improve anything, then most likely you will have an unsuccessful IVF cycle. So you will be, and emotionally and spiritually and physically, you will be in a trauma. So why wouldn't you invest in nurturing yourself and your partner in that 3 4 month window and have like not only double but like 10 times up the success rate?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we can definitely help. And again, I have helped women again in their fertility through IVF, through EUI, and in different stages. So they hold the baby as well. So after the implantation as well, then I give them other herbs. So really, really keep supporting the body as natural possible. So you will have the best outcome as possible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that. And thank you so much for telling me a little bit more about what you do, Evangelia, and helping couples to understand where you can help them. Where can they find more about you?
Well, they can find me. I'm on Facebook under the name Evangelia Faciane Multido. Otherwise, if you just put Evangelia and FAS, you will find me straight away. I always also have a Facebook private group where I share my expertise and my herbal wisdom. I'm also on Instagram, hertau_Evangelia. And I'm also a co-partner with Tara, and we are really, really excited because it's our very, very first podcast and many, many to come. And we have something amazing in the works, but we are not going to share that yet. But it will be promised. It will be amazing and it will be huge.
Yeah, we're so excited. We've been working on something really special together, and we're going to be letting people know pretty soon what's coming in the works. But this has been amazing, Evangelia. I love so much getting on here with you and talking about fertility. And we have our group on Peanut is called the Holistic Healing Village, where we talk about trying to conceive, fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum. And so you can find us on there. You can also find, Evangelia just shared her information. You can find me at the Fertility Academy on Instagram or on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn at Tara Angelis. And then you can also visit my website, which is thefertilityacademy.com. So lots of places to find us. We are so excited to support you. You can also go to my profile on Peanut, and I have a link there you can click to sign up for a fertility strategy session with me. So yeah, I hope this has been really helpful. We love getting on here and talking about fertility, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with our next show, with our next live podcast. So stay tuned. And this has been absolutely wonderful. Evangelia, can you see on your side any questions coming through on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that?
Let me check. I don't have anything here on Peanut. Let me check on Insta if I can see anything. Let's see. Here I don't. I think I have a couple on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and answer some questions while we have some time here.
So let's see. So one question that I see is like, how would you improve it if you would start right now? Like, what was the one thing that you would really start now with? So if it was like exercise or acupuncture or herbs, like what would be the first step to improve the fertility?
That is such a good question. What I always start with is detoxing. And so the reason why I start with this particular step is that if you have heavy metals and toxins and chemicals and things in your body that are preventing your cells, your body from functioning properly, you can take so many nutrients. You can eat a really healthy diet, but your body's going to have a hard time taking in the nutrients into the cells properly when there is a lot of toxins that are kind of in the way. So my first step always with my clients is to work on detoxing. And I have this really incredible product that we use that safely removes the toxins out of the body in a very effective and amazing way. And then the next step there is to bring in your nutrition. So I'm always like, step one, like get rid of the toxins. Step two, start bringing in the proper nutrients and nutrition to support your fertility, because both sperm and eggs rely so heavily on certain nutrients that we need to have in our diets. So it's really important to be getting in those things. And then as we go, I start layering in these other amazing lifestyle techniques, exercise, sleep. We work on stress reduction. Like all of these things have a big impact on how the body handles hormone balance and all these things. So I hope I answered that question. We start with detox, then we go to nutrients, then we move on from there. But yeah, amazing question. What about you, Evangelia? What would you start with your
I would
client?
do the same thing. So everything starts with the foundation, laying it good. So we of course start first with detoxification, and then I really love to use herbs for this, but I also really love a good gut cleanse. So I really love to give them like a magnesium sulfate for 3 days, so the colon's really really cleansed. And I really love to use one product that is from my mentor, and it's also available in the States. It's called Guard, and it's really great because it has herbs like buplurum. It really dredges the toxins from the liver, and it has nettle. Like nettles are really really, besides being really really high in iron, they're also really great in detoxification for the body. So I always recommend that as well as postpartum, because if you have like a C-section or in general medication, you want to get that out of your system as soon as possible. And even nettle can do that for you in a tincture form or in a tea form.
Amazing. I absolutely love that. Again, you can find Evangelia here on Peanut app, and me as well. Feel free to send us a message if you do have any questions or need further support. We are here for you. We want to support you. We're so excited to be supporting women and couples on this journey of trying to conceive. Evangelia, do we have any other questions that are kind of coming in that we could answer before we wrap this podcast up?
Well, we have listening to our amazing podcast, Crystal, and also Cleopatra. Oh, lovely names. Let's see if they have any question regarding the myths and the fertility busting. Do you have any questions, ladies, that you want me to ask?
Yeah, go for it, Cleo.
A period do you still have like a egg that's fertile?
Oh, we busted that myth a second ago. Perfect. You can handle it, Tara. I'm leaving it to you.
Absolutely. So if you are skipping a period, the eggs that are maturing, like it takes about 4 months for an egg to go from beginning to end to finish its final maturation process. So even if you are missing a period, the egg that is going to be coming up for to be ovulated in the next cycle, when you do get another cycle, you are going to be having like that egg that's going through its final maturation process is still going to be ready to go, if that makes sense. So even if you miss a period, if you have an anovulatory cycle, or if you are missing your cycle completely, even when your cycle does come back, there is an egg in the background that's been working on maturing over the 4-month period of time. Did that help answer your question?
You're on mute, Cleopatra.
Oh, I think, were you able to hear me? I don't know if you were able to hear me. I'm so sorry. So Cleopatra, you do have an egg that is maturing in the background for 4 months prior to when it is ovulated. And so even if you have an anovulatory cycle, or if you have a month where your period is missing, then when you do have a month where you have an ovulatory cycle and the egg is released and all that, that egg has still been maturing in the background for those 4 months prior to that ovulation cycle, if that makes sense. Did that help answer your question?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just because I skipped like a period, and then I took a test that was negative in March for
Okay.
like the period that was due in March.
Mm-hmm.
And then on April 2nd, I took another test because it was like, it's just been such a long time, like,
Yeah.
and it was negative, but I took another test on April 12th and it was positive.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's exciting.
That's so beautiful.
But when I went in to the doctors, I don't know why they did an ultrasound. I guess because they were going by the February 12th of my last period. So they thought something would show up on the ultrasound.
Yeah.
But nothing was really there yet. So,
okay.
But that would make sense because I was testing negative on the 2nd. So
yeah. So what probably happened is you may have had like a longer cycle where your ovulation time was pushed back. This is very frequent. It can happen if you have like stress, or if you're sick, or there's something that's kind of stressing your body out that can push ovulation out a bit. And then you'll ovulate later in your cycle. So if you have a missed period, it could be that you just had a longer cycle. And then when your egg was released, you got pregnant with that egg, and then it didn't show up until April 12th, it sounds like, as a positive, because your body was still working on building up that HCG in your system because of a later ovulation in your period. But that is so exciting. Congratulations.
News. We're
I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was just like thinking, like, if it's not showing up now, like I would assume that it needs some time, because usually they don't do an ultrasound until 6-7 weeks, correct?
Yeah, that's right. The earliest that they can usually see something is usually about 5.5 weeks. Is the earliest that clients would come into the fertility clinic where I worked and would see like a little bit something. And then 6.5 weeks is when you can usually start dealing with it. Just kind of, should be showing up soon for sure. Do you have another ultrasound planned in the not too near future?
Yeah, they want me to come in on the 23rd, but I don't know if that's still too soon. And they I guess they're worried because they're going by like
Oh, Tara? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry for interrupting, but you dropped out of StreamYard. Yeah, no worries. So we're just live, but I'm doing it through the Peanut.
Here, I'll just keep talking through Peanut, and then you
Yeah.
can. I'll try and come back into the live. So yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of.
Here, I'll mute myself on StreamYard.
Yeah.
Evangelia, why don't we just go ahead and end this live for now?
Yeah, we will end the StreamYard and we continue on the peanut.
Okay,
So we can be there for Cleopatra for all her questions.
Okay.
So,
all right, bye.
bye.